Hi, I'm Ellie from the Dark Imp, helping parents to reclaim family time by playing board games together. Now, you may know already that I am a big fan of roll and write games. I've created lots myself, available at thedarkimp.com, and I also choose to play loads. I think it's a great form of a game to play with families because usually you're working on your own score sheet, and nobody can really mess with what you're doing. Now, if you've got a family that is highly likely to take offense at each other and can't really deal with the take that mechanic of stealing things from other players or causing other players trouble, then or conflict within the game, then often roll and write games are a really good solution. In addition to that, in many roll and write games, you play simultaneously, so people aren't sitting around and waiting for their turn. And I find that that's a real benefit to playing family games. Okay, so I've decided to do my own top 10 list of roll and write games, which you might like to explore and delve into with your family. Now, as I already said, I have created quite a lot of these myself, and there are a couple on the list. Full disclosure now, there are a couple of my games on the list, but I've held myself back. I've only put 2, and I've been really careful not to put them in the top position, even if I think they ought to be there. So let's dive in and look at number 10. Number 10 is Quinto. Now, this is the card game version of Quinto, and it's in German. You can probably see. Often I get games in German. It doesn't matter. All the rules are in English online. I don't speak a word of German. I know that this is Quinto, the card game. Quinto, the card game, works in a very similar way to Quinto, the dice game. Every player has their own score sheet. It's a simple score sheet. You've got 3 different rows of different colours, and you're trying to write numbers in ascending order. So you can miss out numbers, but that you can never put a number that is lower than the one you put before. And you can put them in any order on the line. And your aim is to get as many on a row as you can, and to get certain columns completely filled because you're going to score bonus points. And I like the card game because the way that it works is that you are choosing 3 of the 4 cards. You're using 3 of the 4 cards to give you the number that you can write on your sheet. And it just combines in a nice way. So that's number 10, Quinto, the card game. At number 9 is Rolling Ranch. Now, in Rolling Ranch, everybody has their own score sheet, which has got a farm on, and you can see there are different fields of different sizes that have numbers on them. So you can see that this is a field with a 6 and a 2. This is 1, 4, 1, 4. And there's a different option on the back of the score sheet. So you can choose whether you're all playing the same or whether you're playing different score sheets. You're rolling 2 dice, and on each die is an animal and a number. And you're going to choose to use the animal on one die and the number on the other die. So you could have 5 cows, for example, which means you're going to draw a cow in a number 5 field. So in a part of a field that's got a number 5 on it. And your aim is to create fields with the same animal type. You can't put any other animal type in that field. And you're going to score according to how many animals you've got in fields at the end of the game. And chickens don't give you as much points as pigs, and pigs don't give you as many points as cows. And you can also construct buildings in different fields, which will allow you to score in different ways as well. There's a lot of option. It's quite a nice theme, and we enjoy playing Rolling Ranch as a family. At number 8, Bank or Bust. Bank or Bust is one of my own games and is available from the Dark Imp website. At the time of recording, it's available as a downloadable print and play game, which it will continue to be available as. But by the time this video comes out, it will also be available as a notepad game. And this is Minitown, which is one of the notepad games. So you can get this sent to you. Bank or Bust will be available in the same format. In Bank or Bust, you're rolling just 1 die. And you are all the time trying to decide whether you're going to keep pushing on. It's a push your luck game. Or bank the money that you've got, or spend the money you've got on some benefit which will allow you to progress higher the next time. So each turn you're progressing around this track. And so if you roll a 5, you're going up to number 5 on the track, which gives you a golden nugget, which will score you at the end of the game. And then if you roll a 3, you're going up another 3 on the track, so you're at number 8. And it's fine as long as you don't roll a 6. And if you roll a 6, you bust. You don't get anything. And you have to cross off one of the bust boxes. Your game finishes when you've finished crossing off your bust boxes. So you've got to really balance up what you want to do on your turn. And of course, other players are making different choices. So that's number 8, bank or bust. At number 7, Quicks. And again, it's a German copy. Quicks is one of the older games on this list. And I like it because this version anyway comes with a padded lid which you can roll the dice in. My copy is a bit like really well used, so you can see that the score sheets they've got, oh, it's still got my name on the top there. Some roll and writes don't have great surfaces. They become hard to rub out the pen on them. As you can see on this score sheet, there are 4 different rows of 4 different colours. The reds and the yellows go up from 2 to 12, and the blues and the greens go down from 12 to 2. And you're trying to get as many of those boxes ticked off as you possibly can. There are different coloured dice, and you're going to roll them. On your turn, you get to do 2 things. You get to use some dice, and then everybody else can do a passive action. So you're always doing something, even if it's not your turn. And once you've crossed off a box, you cannot go back to the left of that box and cross off another box. You have to cross them off in order left to right. You can skip boxes, but you can never go back and fill them up. You're going to get more points for crossing off boxes on a line. It's very simple. It's not got a theme. It's an abstract game. And it's a really lovely one that's actually really rich with choices, because you can choose, once you've got 5 ticks on a line, you can choose to close off that line so no one else can use it and that dice is removed from the game. But if you close off that line, you won't be able to get any more in that line either, but you get additional points for closing it off. So you have to balance and think about when the right time is to close it off. Are you going to push and get more points, or are you going to close it off early so no one else can get it? So it's an interesting game, very easy to learn. And actually, I played it a lot on Zoom in the last year. Quicks. And number 6, Gangshu Clever. Okay, Again, it's in German. Although you can get the English version. I think it's called Ever So Clever. Or no, That's So Clever. There are 3 different versions of this game, and they get progressively more complicated. One of them's called Even More Clever. I think the first version is called That's So Clever, and that's what I've got here, Gangshu Clever. I don't speak German, so I can't do a translation for you. It's a brilliant game. That you have a score sheet, and on the score sheet there are different mini games that you're playing within, and there are different coloured dice, and each dice, so the yellow dice you can only use within the yellow game, for example. The blue dice combines with the white dice to use in this game. You're rolling all 6 dice, and you're choosing which dice you're going to use. So that will be that dice to use within that particular game. So if you're choosing the green dice, you're going to use it in the green game. If you're choosing the white dice, the white die, it can be used as a wild one. So it can be used as in any of the 5 games. When you use that die, you take it and you put it on your piece of paper. And then when you finish your go, which is 3 dice that you've used out of 6, then the remaining dice are available to all the other players to use on the silver platter, which sounds really grand, but it's actually just a sort of grey colour bit in the box. That's the silver platter. So you're going to have the other dice on the silver platter for everybody else to use. So again, that gives you an active action, and if it's not your turn, it gives you a passive action at the end of the turn. It's a really great game that's so rich with choices, and it's been an inspiration to me as I've created some of my roll and write games as well. So that's Gangshu Clever. At number 5, Railroad Ink. Again, this one everybody plays simultaneously. You've got different dice with different combinations of roads and railroads on them. And this row here shows you all the different possible dice rolls that you can get. And you get a score sheet like this, and you are looking at all the dice that have been rolled. There'll be 4 dice in each of the 7 rounds. 4 dice will be rolled, and you have got to draw those roads and railroads on your score sheet from these little arrows around the edge. So those are your starting points. And at the end of the game, you're going to score for how many of these different arrows you've connected in a single network of roads and rails. That will give you lots of points. That's where you're going to get most of your points. You're going to score for anything you've got in the middle. You're going to score for your longest road, your longest railroad. And there are expansions in the different packs as well, so that you can you can add variety to the game if you want to. So that's number 5. Railroad Inc. At number 4, Trails of Tucana. Now in Trails of Tucana, you get your own island sheet. So you are trying to make pathways across the island. So each turn, 2 cards are flipped, and the cards will show different terrain types. There are 4 different terrain types. So for example, if you flip a mountain and a desert card, then you have to draw a line between the center of a mountain hex and the center of an adjacent desert hex. So you're creating lots of little lines all over the sheet, which you're hoping are going to connect up to each other and ultimately join these special icons that you have in different places around the board to villages, which are these little circles at the sides. You're going to get points for each of these that you draw. You're going to also get bonuses. So you might be able to draw extra lines when you've got your second one of each of these types of bonuses. You're going to get extra points if you connect villages of the same type to each other. And you're going to get to score some of these things twice. You're going to go through the deck twice, and you score at the end of the first one and again at the end of the second. It's endlessly different. I love it. It's seen lots of table time in our house. It's Trails of Tucana. At number 3, Restaurantpreneur. This is one of my games. If you haven't yet seen it, if you haven't played it yet and you like roll and writes, go to the Dark Imp shop and you can get it. It's a downloadable print and play game. That's what I've done. I printed it out on my own printer and stuck it together in the middle. In Restaurantpreneur, you are creating your own cafe from scratch. You are working on 5 different mini games using 3 different standard 6-sided dice. And one of your dice you're going to choose to represent the mini game. So in the first mini game, you are developing your menu. You can write what you want. So you can write, oh, it's eggs and bacon. Oh, it's mackerel for breakfast. I don't know, maybe you'd have mackerel for breakfast, or haddock, or something like that. Or kippers, maybe kippers is more appropriate. In the second mini game, you're hiring your staff, and you can give them names when you've hired them, so your staff can be different from anyone else's staff. In the third game, you're picking the location of your restaurant. In the fourth game, you're choosing the fixtures and fittings for your restaurant, and you can circle the lighting that you want, or you can circle the fridge that you want, so that you've got something that's different in your restaurant from everybody else. And in the fifth game, you're spreading the word and getting people to know about your restaurant. And then you are spending money from the bank on each roll as well. So your aim is to keep these 3 accounts very even so that you don't go overdrawn in any of them. So you roll 3 dice and you choose 1 for the game. You choose 1 for the number within the game, and you choose 1 for the account that you're spending money from. And the game finishes when you're overdrawn in 1 account. That's Restaurantpreneur. At number 2, Cartographers. Now, I don't have my own copy of Cartographers, so I can't show it to you. But I have played it loads of times. It's a brilliant game. I've also got the app, and the app is pretty good too to play on your own. In Cartographers, you have a score sheet, which is a map that you're trying to fill with different types of terrain. And there are 4 different scoring conditions for each game. And there's 16 different scoring cards. So you might have all different kind of combinations. So there's quite a lot of replayability in this game because you're going to have different kinds of scoring combinations each time you play. And not only that, but your scoring cards will only score, each of the 4 cards will only score in 2 of the 4 rounds. So for example, in spring, which is the first round, you're going to score your first and your second scoring card. In summer, you're going to score your second and your third scoring card, etc., etc. Winter, fourth and first, so that you score each one twice. So what you're doing at the beginning of the game and what you're trying to optimize your score for may really change. Later in the game, you're going to be wanting to do something totally different. There are 4 different kinds of terrain, and according to the scoring conditions, you're doing different things with them. So you might have an objective, which is to get the biggest area of city, as long as it's not next to a mountain. Or you might have an objective, and you might have an objective that says you need to get forests, as many forests around the edge of the map as you can. And these are going to combine in different ways. Now, you're going to draw cards in each of the 4 seasons, and on each of the card, it's going to have a shape and it's going to have a colour. In fact, it's going to either have 2 shapes and 1 colour, or 1 shape and 2 colours. And you choose either which shape you're going to do in that colour, or which colour you're going to do in that shape. And you're fitting these things into your map. And you're going to fit them in according to the different objectives. And it's really puzzly. And it's really fun, and the replayability is huge, and I recommend it highly. That's Cartographers. At number 1, Welcome To. Welcome To is a flip and write card game. You each have your own score sheet, and I've laminated this. They don't come laminated. They come with pencils and a pad of paper. I often laminate games because then you can play them more than when your score pad runs out. And on this game, you've got 3 different streets, and you are going to write numbers in your houses from smallest number to largest number. Each turn, you're going to flip over 3 cards, and you're going to look at the numbers on the card, and then you're going to look at the kind of the special ability of the card that's next to it in the pack. So if you imagine you've got 3 decks of cards and you're flipping them all over, you're using the number on the card that you've just revealed combined with the special ability on the one you've just flipped over. So you get to choose one of these 3 sets of 2 cards. So for example, you could choose the number 9 combined with a swimming pool, which might be the special ability on the back of the card you've just flipped. And then you're going to write that number that you've chosen on one of the houses, and you have to do that. And you can choose to use the special ability that goes with it as well. So if you want, for example, if you've got a 9 swimming pools, you could put a number 9 on this house with a swimming pool, and it's got a swimming pool, and then you can cross off one of your swimming pools down here. And there are lots of different special abilities, and they give you different bonus points at the end of the game. But what you're really trying to do is you're trying to get your houses in consecutive order. You can't change them when you built them, and you can't mix up that. It can't go 1, 3, 2. It can't go 1, 3, 2, 5, 4. It's got to go in consecutive order. It's got to go in ascending order, though you can skip numbers. So you're getting points in all sorts of different ways. You're getting points for your objective cards. You might be trying to get groups of certain houses fenced off, because fences are one of the things you can draw on the special abilities. You might be trying to get certain groupings of them, which can give you more points. You might be trying to get lots of swimming pools. You might be trying to get parks, and you're going to score off the parks in the different areas to give you points. There's lots of different choices. You'll be doing something, other people will make different choices, and it's a fabulous game. It's quite quick to learn. And again, it's one of these that you can play loads and loads of times and never get bored of it. That's my number 1 roll and write game. Welcome To.